Georgia squirrel hunting season begins August 15th. It is one of many animals you can go out and harvest, but most critters don't just walk up to you. You actually have to coax them out of their habitat.
Suzanne Lawler shows you how one Jones County man turned his passion into a side hustle with dreams to go big.
And I found out when it comes to woodlays and stuff, you know, I had a caviar taste on a hamburger budget.
John Peterson curbed the caviar and found harmony with the hamburger side of the budget.
This is a rabbit distress call. It's used for hunting coyotes and predators. It sounds like a rabbit that maybe has been caught by a predator.
He's got 7 kinds of collars in his inventory. You know, it's not surprising that John got into making these beautiful collars. He loves to hunt and fish. In fact, he and his kids actually made this lure right here. And he grew up with the stuff. His dad is a carpenter.
You got to have an ability to see the grain and you know how to turn the call so the calls look really, really good when they're done.
They didn't always look so good.
Chucks it up and says, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound right. Then he'll throw it in a wood scrap pile for us to use as firewood later.
Jessica is John's wife, and the cherry, pecan, and maple chunks of nature, crafted into tools, rarely wind up in the scrap pile now. He's got over 400 under his belt. Each one is different.
There is a very rich history and tradition, not so much in Georgia, but you go to places like Louisiana and Alabama, custom calls and handmade calls are very, very common.
Many of those collars go to collectors, but John doesn't want his work sitting around collecting dust.
I want to build a call that somebody will use in the field and get years of enjoyment out of.
The 34-year-old who once gave his stuff away to family and friends now has a business called Piedmont Game Calls. He's making some money, but is sticking close to those hamburger roots.
So I went and bought a cheap lathe off of Amazon, which is what I still have in my shop. And I haven't burned it up yet, so I'm still using it.
Squirreling away his resources and banking on his dreams of maybe someday building a dynasty one collar at a time. Suzanne Lawler, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, the Petersons named the business Piedmont Game Calls in part because they live right next to the Piedmont Wildlife Refuge.
You can find more of Peterson's work on his Facebook page or Instagram at Piedmont Game Calls.